जय राधा माधव जय राधा माधव बिहारी राधा Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Divine Grace of Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur Ki Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Prabhu Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Pandit Govardhan Ki ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की द्वारकापुरी धाम की पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की श्री मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की गंगामय यमुनामय की भक्ति देवी तुलसी देवी की समावेत भक्त वृंद की all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Om Ajnana-Dharshana-Dharshana-Kaya Shri Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Vishwanasavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Radha Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Radhanam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Balan Sahagana Shri Radhanamritamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Vishnaya Bhayarudale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desasharine Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurakrishna Namaha He Krishna Rama Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopeya Gopiya Kanta Radha Taptavanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishnuvanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Manchakalparurusha Vastudevacha Patihanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Namaskritya Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashiti Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Gopindaya Namo Namah. So we are doing the 10th canto, 73rd chapter in 3 parts. In the first part, summary is like this. The 20,800 kings all across the globe, they were all actually in a belligerent mood, fighting with one another to expand their kingdoms and to dominate the other kings, and in this way they wanted to make themselves supreme. And in the course of that quarrel and fight, they say that they actually tormented their Praja, as well as they also were captured by Magadha. Who is Magadha? And put in the jail for several long years. Their bodies were emaciated and dresses became very dirty and unkempt. And they thought that very soon our lives are going to end. But nevertheless, they sent a petition to Lord Krishna to protect them and save them. So Lord Krishna appeared. And the jail door was opened, and then beautiful darshan of Krishna they saw in their lives. Although they had heard about his form and beauty and qualities and activities, they were seeing him for the first time, eye to eye. So at that time, they felt that their life in the jail turned out to be a blessing. Because for 2 reasons. One reason is, even if you somehow encounter Krishna in your life, but you are in a very proud and boastful mood, that darshan is not very beneficial. Like Karna, Duryodhana, Dushasana, Shakuni, Dhritarashtra. So they all got to see Krishna, eye to eye. But did they benefit much? No, not much benefit. They saw with an evil eye. Either they thought of Krishna to be a magician who is showing some Vishwarup in the palace, or they thought of him to be a very diplomatic king, or like Shishupal and other people foolishly thought of him to be an ordinary covered boy, nothing more than that. They thought of him to be a mortal. Like in 9.11 Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Avajanati Mam Buddha. So, therefore, many times in our conditioned stage, people are very immature with respect to God realization. They say that, have you seen God? The very question shows their ignorance. Because their idea is just like you or I may come and stand in front of you and you see me. Like that you have to see God. That's all they think like that. They don't actually seeing God means seeing with love. If you can't see, if you see Krishna with love, then he doesn't have to come in front of you. You will always see him standing in your heart. At every moment you will see him. Like he says, Kunti Maharani, who can see the lotus feet of Krishna? She is saying, Shanmanti Gayanti Gananti Vekshna Shagasmaranti Nandanti Tavehitam Jana Tayeva Pashyanta Chirena Tavakam Bhava Pravaho Paramam Padambujam. She is telling that Tayeva Pashyanti. Pashyanti means to see. Tayeva Pashyanti. Only those people can see Krishna. She says, who? She says, Srinmanti, those who are very eager to hear about it. Gayanti, those who very joyfully glorify him. Not out of a sense of duty. Like sometimes we send some boys for reaching out to other people to preach. They may do so because they have been told to do, or it is one of the seva to do. Similarly, whether we are preaching, whether we are entering some service, that should be lovingly done. You are washing the pots should be lovingly washed. We are serving prasad, we should lovingly serve. You are singing, we should lovingly sing. You are going out on book distribution, you should lovingly reach out the books to others. So it should be very joyfully performed. Pratyakshavagavam dharmyam susukam kartam abhigam. It is very joyfully performed. So this is one very big difference between spiritual activity and material activity. In the company, nobody actually says, I fell in love with my boss, so I am serving in the company. He is giving you salary check, therefore you serve. The check stops, your service stops. Whereas in our devotion life, you will see there is no salary check for you. It's called seva. Seva means that which is voluntarily done, joyfully done, lovingly done, eagerly done. One is anxious to get opportunity to serve, longing to serve. That is called devotional service. So, if one's eyes are tinged with such love, actually initially we say loving service. Why? Because as you keep serving lovingly, that love becomes very prominent in the heart. Then one can see Krishna with eyes of love. When one is seeing the deities of the Lord, or whether one is reading the Shastra, whether one is performing any kind of devotional activity. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena Santas Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. See what Brahma says. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilochanena means because of the bhakti, when one's eyes become tinged with love, then in that person's heart, Krishna is present, he said. Santa Sadaiva, Sadaiva means what? Always. Hridayeshu, the heart, below him. That's where he is there. So that means eyes should be tinged with love, then Krishna enters the heart of the devotee. So she's saying Srinvanti, Gayanti, Grinanti, Abhikshna Shaha means continuously. It is not that one is supposed to hear the morning class, therefore one heard. Actually, one is constantly hearing, remembering, relishing, repeating, thinking, munching in the mind constantly. In order to understand this point, the illustration given by our acharyas of Yoti Namita Yuni Yuno Yota Veda Manobiravate that verse is given by Prabhu Goswami. One boy was asking his friend, you guys are after Krishna, 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 don't you get bored? How many times you will hear about Krishna? How many times you will speak about Krishna? You go to temple of Krishna. Once in a while you go for Janmashtami, it's all right. Temple. Every day morning Krishna, afternoon Krishna, evening Krishna, sleeping the night with Krishna, thinking all the time Krishna, Krishna, don't you get bored? So the person whom he asked was a devotee. So the devotee boy very brilliantly answered. He asked him, you see, when you came in the first year, you didn't know anybody in the college. But the moment you got attracted to that particular girl, then you started trying to approach her. Then the first thing you do in the college when you come is look in that direction, whether that particular person is there. And then you are finding out ways and means to go closer to that person. You want to know the name of the person. You want to talk about that person. You go and tell every friend in the class about her and say that don't tell anybody. But you told everybody. Is it not true? And then even after you have connected with that person, then you tell your realize you had with the person with other people. You go and tell everybody, oh, she talked to me, she thanked me, I told her, she told that. Sometimes people get bored with your romantic stories. And still you go and tell so many people. So this madness for the opposite sex is well-known phenomenon in this world. Therefore our acharyas have given this example. Because attraction for Krishna is somewhat very similar to that. Attraction for the Lord is very magnetic attraction. Actually, when that attraction comes, the devotee becomes very confident and pure-hearted and stable. There is no more hankering. No more hankering for material enjoyment. And the devotee is satisfied with whatever Krishna sends of his own accord. And the devotee is longing for even moksha goes away. Moksha vancha also is finished. Moksha vancha means that we want to get rid of sufferings. The devotee doesn't ask us to get rid of sufferings at all. The devotee says, you put me even in hell also if you want. If you send me to hell for preaching purpose, I will preach in hell also. Like our Prabhupada went to America to preach. It was a hellish place, but he still preached. The devotee doesn't care about situations. So therefore, seeing Krishna actually, Prabhupada explains in 1.8.37, 1.8.36.37 if you read it. In the Kunti's prayers, Prabhupada saying that seeing actually is seeing with love. If you can't see with love, your seeing is not seeing at all. So, some people say that no, you have to cultivate knowledge, you have to see with knowledge. Shastra Chakshu. Because if you see with knowledge, you will properly see, knowing the platform of how great that personality is. Just like once some man came to meet Michael Faraday. So he asked the gardener, where is the office of Michael Faraday? So he showed him. So he went and sat there for half an hour. Then Michael Faraday actually was the fellow who was working in the garden. He was rolling up his sleeves and planting some plants and everything. He finished that work, washed his hands and legs and came and sat in the Michael Faraday's seat. The man was shocked. He said, I thought you were a gardener. I said, yeah, I'm a gardener also, I'm Michael Faraday also, both. I'm a scientist, I also do gardening, he said. So then that fellow thought he has offended Michael Faraday. But didn't get offended at all. But the point is, the moment he knew that this is Michael Faraday, his respect for him increased. Is it not true? Immediately. And generally, why do we give introduction about somebody? The purpose of the introduction is to make the audience understand the value of the association that they are receiving. For college students who are in first year or something, when we introduce, we tell about the material accolades and achievements of a devotee, correct? No? In the material field. Why? Because when they hear, because they have a lot of material ambitions. And when they see somebody has already achieved all these things and still has become Krishna conscious, then they may lend their ears to hear. Okay, let us see what he says. They may take it more seriously. That's the whole idea. In the same manner, in spiritual life, the spiritual accolades are more important. About one's steady practice, day after day, month after month, year after year, several years of service, and the volume of service, and the quality of service, and the quality of the practitioner's consciousness, and what quality of devotion one has practiced. It's not just the volume of service. All these things matter in the path of spiritual life. So once you know those things, because training means training in consciousness. Training is not just how to offer obeisances or how to do seva. Training means training in consciousness. So when in this way, some people say that the knowledge of a person's greatness will naturally increase our respect for him. So the knowledge should be cultivated. And that is not false. That is true also. That's true. Therefore, Krishna in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives the vibhutis. More than 80 vibhutis is saying, amongst the animals I am lion. Amongst the mountains I am Meru Parvat, he says. Because is there any mountain which can grow taller than Meru now? Therefore, he is the best of everything. And he says, amongst Adityanam Aham Vishnu, Rudranam Shankarashchasmi, he says, in the same manner as amongst the bodies of water, what he says, there is a pond, there is a lake. He says, who am I in the body of water?
Ocean.
The ocean, he says. Oceans are the biggest bodies of water. Correct now? So in this way, Krishna says, I am the best of everything, because in this world we all are looking for best in everything. Correct now? If you want to go for buying a mobile model, you look for, of course we have enough money, what you will want to do? Go for the best mobile. And similarly, you want to get admission to a college, you will want to go to the best college. You want to go to US, naturally you will look for Ivy League universities. Correct now? Ivy League universities are the best universities in US, so you will want to apply for them. So you look for the best, whatever you do in life. Like you are going to buy fruits, will you buy rotten fruits? You will buy which fruits? Best fruits. Which is so you will see the quality of fruits, you will see the quality of vegetables. Anything you purchase. So, therefore, when you understand that Krishna is best in everything and there is nothing equal to him or better than him, then we are attracted to him. So, let us buy the best personality, who is Krishna, then take it. Correct? No? Because there are many devatas. There is Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu. Lakshmi ji, for example, she is taking a garland and waiting whom to marry. She is telling, look at this Indra, he is very handsome, but he is a darpoke. When demons come running to the heaven, he runs away. Isn't it? Look at Shiva. Oh, Shiva is actually very detached, which is very wonderful, which is very peaceful. At the same time, he is wearing ashes from the shmashan, from the graveyard, having a snake around his neck, and he is a jatadhari. And and he lives in crematorium. Who can go and live with him in crematorium? Nobody can marry him, she says. Then what about Durvasa? Oh, great ascetic. He lives in the bank of a river or sometimes in a cave. Very simple life. One of these gets angry unnecessarily. And people like Ambarish. So she says, useless. What about Shukracharya? Very intelligent. Krishna says, Ushana Kavi. I am Shukracharya amongst all the learned people, he says. So it's very super intelligent, sharp intelligence. When Vamadev came, nobody could understand who he was. Only one person understood who was that. He said, my dear king, this is Sakshat Vishnu who has come. Don't give him Argya. Everything, he will take away everything. He looks like a small boy, but what he will do, even I also don't know, but he will do something. Something he will do, a very dangerous person. But the king said, if he is Vishnu, ultimately owner of everything, Vishnu means all-pervading, he has pervaded the whole universe. In every atom he is present, he only gave me everything. So why can't I give it back to him? So I should give, that was king's decision. At that time when king was about to give, the Shukracharya became a bumblebee and went and blocked the Kamandalu inside. And Vamadev, of course he is super intelligent, correct? No? He smiled and said, wait, what I will do? He took a kusha grass and put inside the hole of that kettle, and then it went inside and hurt the eyes of the Shukracharya's bumblebee. And immediately the bumblebee had to come out. My eyes are pain. And then immediately I was given after that. So the idea is very intelligent, but at the same time is very cunning and diplomatic. She says that, although he is very intelligent, he is attached to his salary pack. Because without the remuneration, he thought he will lose everything, I will also not get salary. So he is attached fellow, so useless, she says. Somebody is materially attached, good for nothing. Like that she said. So she's considering different. She said, Ravana keeps his wives very well, gives them abundant ornaments and saris and nice living apartments and facilities, abundant servants and servant maids, everything he gives. But he's a characterless fellow. He just goes and catches anybody's wife and brings. Shameless fellow. Not only that, he is temporary. He doesn't live long. He is slapped by the sword of time, separating sword of time. He is finished. What use of marrying such fellows who are temporary? So in this way, she takes one name, tells one good quality and tells one bad quality and rejects one by one. Finally, she tells that, of course, she told Kumaras also. Kumaras are very exalted, very worshipable by all, and they are ever fresh and ever young. But they have no attraction for the fragrance of woman because they are renunciates the platform of jnana. They are brahmacharis. She said brahmacharya has nothing to give and take with a woman at all. So in this way she rejected everybody. So finally she said, there's only one person I can think of who is Lord Narayana. He's the best qualified person for any woman who would want to marry. He has all the 6 opulences. Bhagavan means all 6 opulences in oceanic proportion. Actually, jivas also have some opulences in this world, but the opulences perish after some time. If you see somebody is very beautiful, like we showed now Hollywood, Bollywood actors and actresses, they're very beautiful when they are young. They get old, how they look like. The grapes turning into raisins, correct, no? The beauty is lost. Similarly, you may have a bright memory now. When you get very old, we have failing memory also. You can see that. You may have a clean skin now. When you get old, you get wrinkled skin. You may have jet black hair, but when you get old, it becomes white hair. In this world, the opulences deteriorate. You can see that. Somebody may be very rich at one time. Somebody goes from being a billionaire to a beggar. Correct, no? Or sometimes the beggar becomes billionaire. The opulences are fluctuating in this world. They are not permanent in the jiva's life. So it's compared to a jugunu. Jugunu means like a glowworm. Glowworm can show up when? In night time only. In the morning, when sun rises, what is the power of glowworm? So Krishna is like the sun, and the jivas with opulences is like a glowworm. So therefore, she rejected all the glowworm-like people with limited opulences, and which are perishable opulences, changing opulences. And she accepted Lord Narayana, whose opulences are fixed, unchangeable. He is an imperishable master, everlasting master, unparalleled master, supreme master. He is the everlasting king. So, but then she said, even he has a defect, she said. What is that? His problem is he is not after me. He is also very detached. But then she looked at Narayana and said, one good quality he has. Although he is very detached, the bumblebees are hovering around his garland and he doesn't reject them. He allows them to hover around the garland. Similarly, Ashtasiddhis are also all around him. Manima, Mahima, Lagima, Prakti, Ishita, Vashita, Kama, Shakti, all those siddhis. They are all moving around him, asking, sir, how can we serve you? He says, okay, be hanging around. Whenever I want, I will tell you. That time I will exercise you. And they are all waiting for seva. So he has one good habit. What is the good habit? He never rejects people who come to him. Even though they may be utterly unqualified, good for nothing, trouble creators and everything. There are many good number of people who come to Narayana who are not yet pure devotees, who aspire to become pure devotees like all of us. We create trouble to ourselves and trouble to others also. Right now, many times. But still, does he reject us? Abhijet suduracharo vajate mam ananyabha sadhureva samantabhyaha samyak prabhasito hi saha क्षिप्रम भवति धर्मात्मा शाश्वत शांतिम निगच्छति kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. So the Lord is so kind, even if they have some deficiencies, faults, He doesn't easily reject devotee. He's a devotee, He has come to me, how can I reject? He may purify us slowly, but He allows us to be around, just like Jagannath's big broad eyes show that, He is very attentive even to the little service performed. Kinchit upakarena ekena tushyati. It is said, if somebody performs service to Krishna, little service, occasional service, only the first service, involuntary service, somehow or other performs some service. Somebody does like that. Even that he takes notice and he'll never forget it for all time to come. That is the way he observes the service done by somebody. Like one man was going through a forest and it was getting dark. So he thought, night I will rest somewhere here. Instead of lying under a tree, which is very cold, he thought, if there is some temple or mandapam, I'll go there. So he went to one temple. When there was a mandapam, long hall with pillars and everything. So he went inside the hall. He saw it was very sandy, not kept very clean. So there was a broomstick. He took the broomstick and he swept the place where he was going to sleep. That much portion of the mandapam he slept. Then put his clothes and he slept in the night and got up and walked away in the morning. He didn't even notice whose temple it was. He just slept there and got up in the morning. Because he did that service of sleeping, next life he became Prahlad. He was the one who became Prahlad Maharaj. That happened to be Lord Vishnu's temple. That means he did only one service. He did service of sweeping. That also is not an intentional service. Did he know it's Vishnu's temple? He didn't know. But it happened to be Vishnu's temple. So he rendered that small service. Lord actually gave him a great birth the next time. So kinchit upakarana ekena tushyati, it is said. On the other hand, apakarana. If somebody, does some mistake while rendering devotion service, Lord just neglects it or ignores it. That's why it is said, when you do little good, He sees like Jagannath eyes. When you do some mistake in devotion service, Lord has Ranganath eyes. Ranganath is semi-closed eyes. He says, okay, no problem. So much devotion service my devotee is doing, some small errors, mistakes, he tolerates like that. Like when Western devotees first came to India, they sometimes had a bad habit of, after eating prasadam, they will take out a tissue paper and just wipe it. They will not wash the hand. Some Indians noticed, Indians jumped up, hey, see, he's wiping his hand with tissue paper. Muchi. You should wash with water. Even in IT companies, when you go after passing water, you want to use water, there's no water, only tissue paper they give. You have seen that? Because that culture is coming here also, correct now? Yeah. And if you want to wash, even at the airport and all, the guys say, hey, don't put water so much, they say, correct now? We take that water jet and we put it in the lake also. So, they have a habit of using tissue paper, but same little old habits may continue. But that is not a very big blunder, correct now? What should we see? They have so much love for Prabhupada, and they are also wearing dhoti kurta, they are chanting Hare Krishna. They are ready to act and study Bhagavad Gita and be like a devotee. So many good qualities they have. One small quality we can ignore, correct? No? One small bad quality. Lord ignores bad qualities. So, therefore, she understood that Lord Vishnu is, never rejecting anybody who goes to Him. So many fellows are going to Him and taking shelter. Why not me also? So then she goes and she garlands Vishnu. And then she offers obeisances. And immediately Vishnu gives a place in his heart where there's a golden hair. It's called Srivats, the chest of Vishnu. So he gives her a place to reside. But she prefers to serve the lotus feet of Vishnu. So, in this way, when one searches around in this world, going here, going there, trying this, trying that, there's one song also in Tamil, Invamange, Endu. Meaning is, where is happiness, go around and search. And wherever it is, you go there and try to get that happiness, he says. And then he says, first I found happiness in toys. Then when I grew up to teenage, I found happiness in girls. Then when I grew up, I found happiness in money. Then after I got a lot of money, I tried to find happiness in liquor and smoking. But all these different things I tried, I only got slaps and kicks and punches and nose cuts and, beatings. That's what I got in all these so-called happinesses. And I totally became frustrated in life, he says, because none of this happiness is permanent, and all these happinesses are draining our energy, and also they are inflicting enormous sufferings. Like I was telling you, stings and strings. They give sting. Lust, anger, and greed, they give stinging. And strings means the three gunas. Rajaguna, Tamaguna, Sattva. These are binding and stinging, both. So Maya has two potencies, Prakshay Patmika potency and Avaranatmika potency. Avaranatmika means she covers, and Prakshay Patmika means kicks. So she covers and kicks. Like that they said. How? Imagine, for example, you are sitting, somebody puts a blanket over you, and you think, oh, it's a very nice winter season. Thank you for the blanket. And then give a solid kick. You wonder, this is a little painful. Actually, Maya's pains, you get confused whether it is pain or pleasure. It looks like pleasure, but ultimately, pain. It's pain producing. Correct, no? So, it's a painful pleasure. Maya's pleasure, it's a painful pleasure. They are like that. Just like, for example, I'm eating this garam aloo, you've seen that? It's very hot and very lot of chili powder. They put in the mouth, the tears are coming from the eyes. Tears are like crying continuously. And then when it goes inside, the chest also, a lot of thing goes up and down. When it goes to belly, whole belly is very hot. People put chill and cold water in the belly. It's very hot in the belly. And tomorrow when it comes out in the morning, backside also is burning. It burns everywhere, from beginning to end it is burning. But the question is, why do you eat such a thing? Because there is some happiness also there, correct now? One gets some thrill of eating something very hot also. It's very crazy it is. So therefore, one should, he says, after searching all the happiness in all these things, I got fed up. Finally, I came to Krishna's lotus feet, he says. And that is where I found that the real happiness is there. That's one famous verse in Bhagavatam. Parijate anjasalabdhe sarangan anyanna sevate vadangri mulamasadya sakshat kim vrinimahi. Very, very beautiful verse by Prachetas. You know what they are saying? Parijate anjasalabdhe. In my life, very easily, by the causeless mercy of the Lord, I got the lotus feet of Krishna, which is comparing to a parijata flower. Parijate anjasalabdhe. So the Prachetas are telling Lord Shiva actually that very easily on the way when they were going to the forest, they got a spiritual master who came on the way, who is Lord Shiva, who gave them the Rudra Gitam, by singing which they attained the darshan of 800 form of Vishnu in the waters. 10,000 years and they performed austerities. So Lord Vishnu appeared. So they are saying that Parijate Anjasalabde Sarangan Anyanna Sevate. Anyanna Sevate means Saranga means Saram means honey. Ga means Gamayati, moving from place to place. So Saram, Ga. That means it takes honey from the flower and goes to another flower. Then third flower, fourth flower. But Anyanna Sevate means it stopped moving from flower to flower. Why? Because one day under a tree there was a bush of Parijata. So when the honey became and sat in Parijata flower, it found the flower had huge quantity of honey. Even after drinking for days together, months together, it was not getting exhausted. It was continuously giving a lot of honey. Then the honeybee decided why to go from flower to flower. Just put a tent here only and stay here. That's what he's saying. Parijate anjasalabde sarangan anyanna sevate twadangri mulam. That means your lotus feet, they are saying. Twadangri mulam asadya, having tasted the lotus feet of yours, sakshat kim vrinimahi. What is the need of us searching for happiness anywhere else? When one young man was coming from Germany, I think France, Germany only. I think, yeah. He was coming to India. He was a historian. He was searching for. He would go to different countries to study the culture of different people and histories of different people. He was keeping records and all as a student. So as he came to Calcutta side, there are some Indian children, small village children saw him. They saw he's a foreigner. Then they caught hold of his hands and pulled him. Please, they were catching. And these children, they dragged him something like half a kilometer distance to one Hare Krishna Pandal where there were foreign devotees. And these children thought he's a foreigner, they're foreigners, he'll be happy to meet them. Like that, the children pulled him. And then they took him there. And then he went there, he met some foreign people there. And the Hare Krishna Pandal was there. There one devotee invited him and said, please take a plate of prasadam. So he arranged a big plate of prasadam and he took him to one room where one great personality was sitting. So this person met him and then that personality asked him, who are you? He said, I'm coming from Germany and this is the work I'm doing. I'm searching for different cultures, different countries I have been traveling. Now I come to India now. And I am thinking that which country offers the best lifestyle, culture, habits, and goal of life, everything. I'm just moving around searching. And a great person told him, your search stops here. He said, and then he gave him the plate of prasad and said, please take prasad. Once you understand this Hare Krishna movement, what it is, what Sri Prabhupada has made, you will never have to search anywhere else, he told him. And that personality, of course, who was the personality who told him? His name is Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He was the one sitting there, the Pandal. So in 1971, so that person who came from Germany, immediately he took prasad and he became a dedicated devotee. And then Sri Prabhupada sent him to Hyderabad. His name is Anandamaya Prabhu. Now, since 71 up to now, in how many years? 50 years, he has not moved out of Hyderabad. He's entering service. 50 years, and every morning you will find him in Mangalarti. So many devotees come and ask him, many people, Prabhuji, how you are staying 50 years in this place, going on and on with the Mangalarti, he said. Then he would ask a question back, where else is happiness? Show me. I have not found happiness anywhere besides the life in ISKCON temple. It's a blissful life, rising in the morning, chanting and dancing with devotees, taking prasad, distributing books. We are benefiting others, we are benefiting ourselves. How can that be a better life? He said, once I tasted this life, I never wanted to go anywhere else, just like the honeybees, correct now? He found the parijata flower, why should he go anywhere else? He's getting abundant honey. Actually, he's a honey searcher, and honey is already available, so why should he go and search? Similarly, devotees of the Lord are looking for what is permanent, what is eternal, what is everlasting pleasure. They found it. So why will they go anywhere else? Correct, no? So in this way, we come to Krishna's shelter like that. These kings felt exactly like this. When they saw the beautiful form of Krishna, they thought, wow, this darshan we would not have attained earlier. We were arrogant kings. With arrogant eye, can you understand Krishna? It's not possible. With a loving eye only you can understand. With arrogant eye, he will be invisible. Kamsa also saw Krishna. But Krishna showed Kamsa only his Virat Rupa. Virat Rupa means a material form. The material form of God is called as Virat Rupa. Therefore it said Virat Abhidusham. There's one famous verse, Mallanam Ashanir Nranam Naravara Strinam Smaro Murtiman Kopanam Sadino Satam Shitibujam Sa Shasta Sapitro Shichubu Mrityur Bhojapate Virat Abhidusham Tatvam Param Dehinam Prishtinam Paradevate Vidito Rangam Gata Sagraja. In this one verse, all the 12 rasas are there. All 12 rasas, everything is there. Mallanam Ashanir, the Chanar, Mushtik, Shalatoshada, they were all Malla fighters. When Krishna punched on their bodies, they felt like a thunderbolt striking a mountain. They felt like that. Mallanam Ashanir. And Rinam Naravara, all the men thought Krishna is the best of men. There cannot be anyone more handsome like that. Strinam Smaro Murtiman. All the women thought he is the Cupid personified. The original. Actually, Krishna is the original Kamadev. And the Kamadeva in this material world is actually has a tiny fraction of Krishna's attractive beauty. Because in this world, the Kamadeva inflicts attraction between man and woman. But you will find that only people of the same species are attracted, you will see. Like man is attracted to woman, woman is attracted to man. Similarly, kutta attracted to kutti, kutti to kutta. Similarly, billa to billi, billi to billa. Correct now? Correct now? You find like the share to share, me more to more, me. Correct now? Whereas when Krishna plays on the flute, who is attracted? Cows and calves. You know, cows' ears are standing like this. And they are eating, they have grass in the mouth, but they are not eating. They are wondering why to eat the grass. Let us drink this honey from the ears. And the calves are drinking milk from the cows' udders. And the calves are wondering, there are two honeys coming, one from the mouth, one from the ears. So which one they prefer first? So they stop this milk. Then they are drinking the honey of Krishna's flute. When Krishna stops playing flute, then they drink milk. So you can understand. That means even they are attracted. The deers are coming also. When Krishna and Balaram are entering forest, the cuckoos are cooing and welcoming. They are cooing and welcoming. And the peacocks are dancing and walking behind like this, moving their wings like this, shivering. Not shivering due to cold like us. They are shivering in ecstasy, welcoming Krishna Balaram into forest. Dancing and welcoming. And the deers are seeing with love-laden glance and welcoming Krishna into the forest also. The trees are offering flowers and fruits, which means even the nature as well as animals and birds, they are all responding to Krishna's presence. You can see that. That is the real Kamadeva. Kamadeva means he doesn't attract only members of only the gopis only attracts. No, gopas are also attracted. There is one verse, Naranaryaischa muditaha, like that he says. Naranari means Nara and Nari are attracted, not only Nari. In this world, you find the cockroach looks at the Miss India. Will it be attracted? No. Cockroach, of course, if Miss India is having a pakoda in a plate, it will be attracted to the pakoda again. But it is not attracted to Miss India. Whereas cockroach is attracted to cockroachini. Whereas Krishna is attracted to whom? Everybody. It's all attractive. So, therefore, in this way, they saw Krishna's beautiful form just as the jail door opened. They were stunned seeing the beauty. Therefore, they are saying this famous verse which we read yesterday, the last verse. Nainam nathanu suyamo Magadam madhusudana Anugraho yad bhavato Rajnyam rajya chutir vibho. They are saying, oh, my dear Lord, we are not at all envious of Jarasandha. Why? Because of his anugraha, we got your darshan. Isn't it? So, they felt it is blessing of, it's a blessing in disguise. Like that they felt. Isn't it? Like for example, imagine if you are going to some temple, there is Hari Prabhuji, all the guest house rooms are finished, we don't have any place. And the ashram also, the dormitory school, we have no place to stay. We have only one place to stay, which is the Govinda Bakery. Backside there is one room. You can kindly stay there. It's a small place, 8 by 8 feet only. You can somehow manage to sleep there. You go there. And there, all the Govinda Bakery smell is coming, all the sonbabri is there, different, all eatables, biscuits, everything is kept. And they say, you can eat whatever you want and you can stay there. Will you consider it a blessing or a curse? But the place is small, will you mind it? You will say, even if no place, no problem, put me in between cakes and biscuits. So, that is how they felt. They never felt jail is bad. Why jail is not bad? Because being in the jail, we saw Krishna's darshan. Like that they felt. Therefore, they are considering the good fortune has surpassed their sufferings. they could ignore the suffering because they got something very wonderful. Yeah. Like one devotee was telling, he was, the devotee was calling, this devotee was afraid, maybe he is calling for service. No, Prabhuji, sorry Prabhuji, I am busy, Prabhuji said. No, Prabhuji, I am not calling you for service. You know, some gulab jams are left, I don't know what. There are, some 10 gulab jams are there. You take 1 or 2 and you can distribute others. He said, all right, why not all right, I am coming immediately. He ran immediately. So, in this way, you will see something very wonderful you get, and then you think, oh, that's why you are calling. I didn't know this. Like that once, Chowpatty, 2 brahmacharis went to one shop. It's a long shop where they sell paints and, the rubber and hose pipes and all those things they sell. No? The owner opened the shop in the morning. He was asleep inside in the cabin, manager's cabin. And 2 brahmacharis went there. These brahmacharis are projects in charge in the temple. So they went to purchase some things in the shop. As soon as he saw them, he said, hey, nikal jao aap log, subah subah aa gaya abhi. Nikal jao. And the brahmacharis went inside. No, I cannot give any donation, get lost, he was saying. Sir, we are coming to purchase items, We showed the money, your money also. Oh, sorry, please take your seat. Sorry. Then all the things were showing. He didn't know they are customers. The moment he knew they are customers, his whole mood changed. So initially he thought they are nuisance. Similarly, being in the jail is nuisance. But then you are getting Krishna's darshan. Is it nuisance? Most welcome thing. The jiva is wandering millions of lifetimes and at last seeing Krishna. So they said, enam nata anusoyama. Now we have no more envy towards, Jarasandha. Because let him be a rascal or whatever, because of that rascal we got your darshan. So we have no envy towards him. No matter how bad he is. Actually, it is the fact that sometimes a devotee faced some turmoil in life, and the turmoil brought the devotee to Krishna. It has happened sometimes. So then they don't mind, probably they have never met devotees. Correct, no? That's how they... Oh, Master Madhusudana, we do not blame this king of Magadha, since it is actually by your mercy that kings fall from their royal position, O Almighty Lord. Like that they are saying. That means they are saying that kings falling from the royal position is also Krishna's mercy. Because when they fall from the royal position, then they wake up. Many times, the failing team learns better lessons than the winning team also. In any games also. Because the failing team, their ego is very badly hurt, correct, no? Like in India also you will see, when the cricket team has lost, you will find Sachin along with all the other cricketers putting a towel around them. That also, video people take that also. Sometimes they put a picture. But they learn the lesson, what mistakes we committed. Next time we should not repeat the same mistake. You want to commit mistake, we should commit a new mistake. We cannot do the old mistake again. So in this way, when kings fall from their position, then they come to senses. Just like Indra, he committed a big blunder in Govardhan Leela. Then he came and took off his mukut and kept it in Krishna's lotus feet and said, my dear Lord, here is my resignation. I don't have to be in this post anymore. I know that you are totally upset with me. You can put anyone else in my post. Krishna said, my dear Indra, you may go now. No need to give up your post, but give up your pride. False pride, he told him. So in this way, at that time Indra came to his senses. Generally people come to senses after getting some nose cut, getting some defeat. Here he says, simply by seeing Lord Krishna, the king came to the position of Krishna consciousness and spoke these verses which show deep spiritual wisdom. Rajaishwarya madonnadho Nashreyo vindate nrupaha Tanmaya mogito nitya Jnate sampado achala. See, Rajaishwarya madonnadho. We had become extremely maddened by the opulence of the kingdom. Being a king with all the opulences, we had become extremely maddened by it. What is the meaning of becoming mad? Like if a king has a lot of name, prestige and wealth and followers, that goes to the head and one is floating in success. Correct, no? Then by that, then one becomes intoxicated about one's own greatness. Then one may use the public money for drinking, for smoking, for enjoying any woman one wants to enjoy with. And one may lavishly spend. That kind of thing happens with people. They tend to exploit the public wealth. Yeah. Like you can see when rich people go to star hotels, like 7-star hotel, 5-star hotel, they drink only half the glass of juice. How they leave it. You have seen that? Because that's a sign of prestige. You are not supposed to drink everything, not that. Last drop you drink. Of course, when you buy some costly juice, you will make sure you don't leave anything. But if you are very rich, you want to show that we don't care. We can leave half also, we don't care because we have so much. Like that. So they go in very posh, big cars. They live in very lavish, big bungalows. You can see the costly clothes that they wear. They have their own chartered plane. They only mix with high circle people. If you call crorepati for a meeting, by mistake you call one lakpati, they will all get offended. I said, how can you call that lakpati? Everybody will walk out. Because they have their prestige. Correct, no? So in this way he says, Rajeshwari Madonnadhu Nashreyo Vindate Nrupaha. He's saying, that doesn't give real benefit. See, infatuated with his opulence and ruling power, a king loses all self-restraint and cannot obtain his true welfare. Prayas, Shreyas, there are two words. Prayas means immediate material benefit. Shreyas means long-term benefit, which is spiritual benefit. He says, no, na shreyo pashyami. Arjuna also says, if I get short-term pleasures, if I become stuck in short-term pleasures, I cannot get long-term pleasures. Like for example, one should, anything you do in life, we should think what is short-term, what is long-term. One should think about it. Like for example, prayers is like if I show you a chocolate along with 1,000 rupee note, which one will you choose? 1,000 rupee note. That's intelligence. Because inside 1,000 rupee note there are 1,000 chocolates. Whereas a child will choose which one? Chocolate. So he sees which benefit? Immediate benefit. Short-term benefit. He doesn't see long-term benefit. He cannot understand. For example, say you are running a Govinda's hotel or something. You are having a bun, you are selling bun. After some days the bun catches fungus. Now you can do two things. Either you just take a brush and remove the fungus and sell it, so that you can save the money, because the profits will not be lost. Or you think, oh, those who are buying this, the devotees, if they eat it and they will get sick, then it's not good for their health. Then you throw away the bun, you don't sell it. So in the first case, when you think I'll just brush it and sell it and make money, you are more profit oriented, correct now. And then when you throw it away, you don't keep it. You are keeping their health and concern. Then you are character oriented. So most people are in which category? First or second? People generally think. And the same thing when you become entrepreneur tomorrow, you will see that this mentality will come in us. We become a little more profit oriented. What will, bring, and what about the other people's health? Hell with the health. Who cares? And they will not come to know if you just remove this fungus and you sell it like that. Because you are more concerned about money making. You are not concerned about character. What is my character? One is my character and what will benefit the people. So if I am a man of high character, I will be concerned about them. Similarly, your voice and we want to actually preach and bring people. At the same time, we want our voice devotees to study well and get good score also. So getting good score Getting good marks, getting nice placement is of great concern to whom? Generally, parents. First the parents and the individual boy also. Correct, no? Everybody is concerned. And that is boys concerned, parents concerned. And those preachers who are coming here, the brahmacharis and the senior devotees, they want to see the preaching happen. And then, you bring people and then connect so that the center will be a flourishing center and it will not close down. Correct, no? It should go on and on. That is our concern. So character means what? Balancing both. Correct, no? And prayers means what? Like, I only think about preaching, I don't care about your studies. That is a short-term benefit. It will produce short-term benefit for some time. But afterwards, when the marks reduce, then the boys become discouraged. And then preaching also will reduce, and over a period of time, the center will be empty. You've seen that it happens in some places. On the other hand, balance the center means Shreyas means what? You think long-term. It's like a win-win situation. Win-win means let them study well, let them get good score, let them get good placement. Parents are happy, they are happy. And let them also do whatever preaching we can do. Even the preaching is a bit reduced because of their studies. It's better to do little preaching and stay for a longer time than do a big preaching now and no college studies and then close the center. You understand now what I am saying? So we should think prayers or Shreyas? Shreyas we should think. One should actually, that's why we say we should not be penny wise, pounds foolish. Yeah, one should know that. Like for example, when you go to some shop where they are selling, this kurmura, this puffed rice, and ground nuts, other things they sell, no? Putana, because all that they are selling. When you just go around the shop, you're looking at things, they will call you and they will give you a little bit. You've seen that? Take this. Isko bhi dekhe. See this, everything they will give. So, do you think they are foolish to give you? Are they undergoing a loss? No. Once they give you, you put in the mouth, then you will see your pocket, how much money I have. Take a 1 kilo de dete. After that, because some people say, hey, you have spoiled my mouth now, okay, give me 1 kilo. Because once they taste it, they want more. And that is why many companies also give samples. You have seen that? Sample soap they give you. When you apply the soap, a lot of lather is coming. You say, okay, now give me a big soap bar. Or you buy some 2 dozen soaps. So the giving the sample is a loss or profit? If you know it's a profit, then you know what is Shreyas. If somebody says, if I am giving little to everybody, my shop will be empty. If he thinks, I will not give anything to anybody. If you want, you buy, otherwise you go. Nobody will come. You understand, no? See how, these are very, another interesting thing I'll tell you. In Calcutta temple when I went, Acharya told me, that was Vikram Govind Prabhu in Kanyakumari temple. He has a very smart method of making devotees. In his temple, what he has done, when Prabhupada's introduction, he has put, two big walls of the Prabhupada introduction of Bhagavad Gita starting. Anybody who comes will want to read it. So he says that if you read this and answer this question booklet, that's all, not booklet, only one sheet. If you answer that, then he'll give you On the Way to Krishna book free. He gives. Okay, then you take the book and go home. Then you read that book and answer one more quiz. And then you get, I think you have to get 8 out of 10 or something like that, marks you get. Then when you submit it, they get second book free. Like that. Then second book you read, and then again there will be a quiz. So there are people who have got 30 books like that, 40 books. Book after book, all the books you get free. So now you may be thinking, how is he able to give free books? Because the scheme only is called as Prabhupada free book scheme. And you can get all books of Prabhupada free provided you read the book and you write the quiz. So when some people, rich people come and see, they say, very nice work you are doing. Jnanadan you are giving. So we can't read the books, we'll donate for the books. They give. So they donate 50 books, 100 books, 200 books. Many people are coming and giving. So he takes donation of the books from them. And these people who are actually reading and writing quiz, to them he gives. So from this hand to this hand, is there any loss? On the other hand, the people who write quiz, slowly you find they come to 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds, because they're reading books now. Knowledge is going in. And so he is making devotees also and getting free books and supplying them. Is it Preyas or Shreyas?
Shreyas.
Smart, very smart. On the other hand, somebody will say, how can we give free books? We can't give free books. Let them pay and buy. And the stall is there, nobody buys. Understand? So one should learn to see what is short term, what is. So that's what they are saying. That infatuated with his opulence and ruling power, a king loses all self-restraint and cannot attain true welfare. So true welfare is Krishna consciousness. And Preyas is becoming a king and riding on the back of an elephant or going on a horse, on a golden chariot, or eating lavishly. But one should know that all these things will be taken away. In the Muchukunda Raja's prayers, he is saying, my dear Lord, a king is, addressed by many names. Chakravarti Maharaj, Padar hai. You've seen that? Everybody will do Jai Jaikar. And they play. So he says that I'm coming on the back of an elephant, but the same body of the king when he dies, it is called by other names. It's called as stool, or worms, or ashes. The very same body. The name has changed now. The same body of the king, like the Muchukunda says in his prayer. The king shouldn't be proud of his body, but what is this body? Deva Sangeetam Apyante Krimi Vidbhasma Sangeetam. This is 10.10.10. Narada says about Nalakur Manigiri. He says, even if one has a Devata body, when one dies, the body turns into ashes or stool or, worms it turns to worms like that. That is the situation of the material body. Everybody's material body goes to the same destination. One shouldn't be very proud of the material body. So therefore, it's a temporary body. One shouldn't become infatuated with such a body. Infatuated means becoming maddened by lust to enjoy. Like that. So, the king loses all self-restraint means he becomes unruly in enjoying Dhanam, Janam, Sundarim and all that. And but those who know Shreyas, like this very Eklavya Prabhu now is sannyasi now. His name is Swarnas Krishna Chaitanya Maharaj now. So when he was a brahmachari, he went to America and he went to the home of His Grace Ambarish Prabhu, disciple of Srila Prabhupada, whom you all know, correct now? Ambarish Prabhu is called billionaire Bhakt, one who is building the TOVP. In his home also Prabhuji wears dhoti kurta. When he went to him in the morning, Prabhuji welcomed him and offered obeisance to Mancha Kapta, everything, and took him to puja room. They had a kirtan and Prabhuji fed him prasad. So Ekla Prabhu asked him, Prabhuji, how are you so humble? You are son of a multi-billionaire. Henry Ford, the grandson of Henry Ford. But we don't see a tinge of pride in you. And with so much wealth, how is this wealth not affecting your head? So then Prabhuji told him, you call me a multi-billionaire, but I don't think so, because in this lifetime, I am allowed to come in contact with this family. And when I leave the body, next life I will be in some other family. But as long as I am in touch with this family, and this family has given me so much wealth, and I will utilize as much wealth as I can in pleasing Srila Prabhupada in building TOVP. Because if I don't do that, suddenly when I have to quit this family, then I cannot come back with get so much wealth. And therefore he said, I always live in this mood that I happen to be in this family in this lifetime. But this family is not permanently mine. I will have to switch over to another family based on my punya papa karma. So this is the meaning of living in a renounced spirit, wherever we live. So because of this consciousness, he is always peaceful, humble, polite, tolerant, well-behaved. He knows that this is all temporary. It is not going to be with us permanently. So his mind is focused on Preyas or Shreyas. And Nalakur Manigiri, their mind was focused on Shreyas or Preyas? Preyas. You understand now? So those guys were stuck in the temporary. We are sons of Kubera, who is a treasurer of demigods. And we are also having high-level contacts like Shiva. Rudrasya Anucharav, Dhanadapmajau, they were thinking like that. Therefore, Sudruktau, they were very proud also. And then they were actually dallying with women in the Mandakin Ganga waters and practically naked. So they had become infatuated by prayers. Correct now. As opposed to that, great souls are never infatuated by prayers. Yudhishthira Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj, Gaya Maharaj, they know that they live in a renounced spirit. Even Vidura also. Renounced spirit means you don't have to take a saffron dress and go to Himalayas or something. You can be in the middle of all those facilities and amenities. But you should know that they are not yours. They belong to Krishna. Like he says, Griheshu Dareshu Suteshu Bandhushu Dipottamas Chandana Vastushu. That's a very famous verse. I'll just show you that. Very important one. Okay, we'll come back to this. Can you say this word? Griheshu Dareshu Suteshu Bandhushu Vipottamasyandana Vastushu Akshayaratnabaranambaradishu Anantaposheshu Akaroda Sanmatim. Maharaj Ambarish gave up all attachment, household affairs, wives, children, friends, and relatives to the best of powerful elephants, beautiful chariots, carts, horses, inexhaustible jewels, and to ornaments, garments, and an inexhaustible treasury. He gave up attachment to all of them, regarding them as temporary and material. See? It's not that he ran away from them. He was living in the midst of them. But he was not attached to them. On the other hand, if somebody may be wearing a saffron, still if he is attached to these things, then that attachment is useless, mental attachment. There was one Kaushik Raja who gave up his kingdom and went to the forest. And in the forest he was very restless. He was living in a cottage, he was having a japamala, but his mind was not getting focused. Constantly agitated, running here and there. So once sannyasi was passing by, he requested him, please can you come to my cottage? He came. So they both sat. This king asked him, sir, why my mind is not peaceful? I have given up everything on the world and I am wearing the saffron dress and all that. So that sannyasi knew very well who this fellow is. He is a Kaushik Raja, has become this thing. So purposefully and very casually asked him, so I am not aware who you are. Can you please tell me who are you? He said, you don't know who I am? I am Kaushik Raja. He said, Kaushik Raja, who is he? That he asked him. In those days he was very popular king, Kaushik Raja. But he said, who is he? I don't know. That purposefully he said. And he said, you don't know. Probably you never get out of the jungle, I think. Okay, let me tell you, don't worry. And next half an hour he started grumbling. He was saying, I got this many elephants, this many horses, this many kingdoms. I even ravaged the neighborhood kingdom and defeated the kings and they were all arrested. So many kings were paying taxes to me and this is the kind of dress I wore, this many queens I had, this many sons and daughters I had. Blah, 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 blah. After half an hour, he was very tired of glorifying himself. And the sannyasi told him, okay, please relax now. Thoda relax kijiye. And then the sannyasi told him, this is your problem. He said, what is the problem? This is your problem. He said, you have given up your kingship and come to the forest wearing saffron, but still you are identifying with those things and you are attached to them. You have given up externally, but you have not given up your attachment to them. And that attachment is causing you mental agitation. That you have to give up, he said. So, real sannyas means, when you are giving up things also, then one should not, that means, Anashita karma valam karyam karma karoti ekasa sannyasi cha yogi cha naniragni najakriyaha 6.1 Krishna is telling. He is saying that you may anashita karma valam. He says that you live as a king, there is no problem. You all are engineers, you live as engineers. You renounce the fruits. And you should always live in a renounced spirit wherever you are. But if somebody is becoming brahmachari, for example, then they should give up their identity as an engineer. I am a great engineer. I am this and all that. That identity is over. Brahmachari means, I am Brahmachari. Brahma means absolute truth. Chari means one who is grazing. Constantly our mind should be grazing in the absolute truth. Krishna. Morning, afternoon, evening, night. Then you are a Brahmachari. and you have no attraction. You may have attraction to opposite sex, but you have no interest in that because you know it's useless, it's futile. Then brahmachari can flourish in that consciousness. Otherwise, therefore, Ambarish king was living like a renunciate, even though he was a king. He was living in the midst of all this. He was never attached to them. So Kaushika king was told the same thing. You give up the material attachment. If you are unable to give up the attachments, okay, live amidst them and then gradually perform your duties of offering the fruits to Lord. As you keep offering the fruits, gradually purification will take place. When you are fully purified, then you can be renounced, like that. So, not only that, we have to give up the attachment to these objects, we have to give up the pride that arises from having given up the attachment. We should not think that, I have given up this. हमने बड़ा डिग्री को छोड़ दिया है, हमने बड़ा नौकरी को छोड़ दिया है, अभी देखो हम कितने अनासक्त हैं. That pride should not be there. Because it's not that you have given up something without anything. You have given something higher. Therefore you gave up the lower. Correct? No? Will you give up a company job unless you get a better job? What do you say? If you say, I gave up that job, okay, but you got a bigger job now. Correct? And therefore you gave up a job paying 20,000, you gave up because you are getting 50,000. Similarly, when you become a devotee also, you are getting everything. Krishna is providing you prasadam, Krishna is providing you service engagement, Krishna is providing you so much respectability amongst the people. We should not forget that we have not given up something without getting something else in return. Correct, no? So one should give up the pride, one should give up the attachment, both one should give up. That is the right. Yeah. If somebody has a mic, or you don't have a mic, I'll read it.
Yes,
Yeah.
The word unnatha indicates that one who is intoxicated with false pride goes beyond the boundaries of proper behavior. Human life is meant to be governed by dharma, spiritual principles for gradual advancement to the perfection of Krishna consciousness. Blinded by wealth and power, however, a foolish person does not hesitate to act whimsically against the laws of nature of God. Unfortunately, this is now the situation in the prosperous Western countries.
Yeah. Like for example, Rahuguna Raja, he became proud of his kingship, power. And then he told that Jadabharata, hey man, don't you know, I can punish you like Yamaraj punishes the sinful people, like that he said. So he became arrogant. Who? Yeah, but he was actually a good king, pious king. He was actually going to Kapilashram for hearing Bhagavatam, which means his intention was good when he was moving to the place. But even pious people sometimes can become driven by anger or lust or greed. Similarly, you will find Ajamila was a pure boy, but then he associated with a prostitute and became infatuated. And then he lost all good qualities. He lost the Brahma Tejas after that. He became like a robber, highway robber, and everything got degraded like that. So connecting with lust, he became degraded. And the king became degraded by connecting with anger. Similarly, somebody can connect with greed and become infatuated also, blinded by wealth, power and all those things. The Western countries is saying that's what is happening because they are after money. Mrigatrishnam yatha bala manyanta udakashayam evam vaikariki maya vastu chakshate. So Mrigatrishna means sometimes in the road it appears there's a river flowing. But when you go near, you don't find anything. It's called Mrigatrishna, we call it. Especially on a hot sunny day. Actually it's just the opposite. You think there is a Udakashayam. Udaka means water. There is a lake. It appears like a lake is there. But when you go Yatha Bala, your child may, a small childish person may think that, this is a, he's seeing Mrigatrishna and thinking it to be Udakashayam. He's saying. It's like a lake, it looks, but when you go near, there is nothing. He's saying. Just as men of childish intelligence consider a mirage in the desert to be a pond of water. So those who are irrational look upon illusory transformations of Maya as substantial. He's saying. Now what are the illusory transformations? For example, as a grandson, I was very attracted to my grandfather, grandmother. on my father's side. On my mother's side, used to call them Amama. You know Amama? Amama is mother's mother. Amama, Apapa, like that. So we may be attracted to them, but then suddenly you find one day, he died. And his body was lying, and you ask your mother, why Dadaji is not speaking? Why? And then they took the body to the grave. They said, you cannot go there. Why I can't go? I want to go with this. No, you cannot go. So they don't send the children to the graveyard because if they see the body burning, they can't take it. They will break down. Correct, no? So naturally we cry that you are not allowed to go. So when will Dadaji come back? Then my parents will, next week he'll come back. And next week, when will he come back now? 1 more week. That's what they tell the children. Slowly they want you to forget. Correct? No? Because now this life span is over for him. He's got another body now. So as children, we have childish intelligence. So we consider the external bodies of Dadaji, Dadiji, all these people. Similarly, mother, father. Similarly, man considers his wife's body to be substantial, wife to be husband, and everything. So the bodies of the living entities appears to be substantial in this world, but they are not substantial. How are they like? Like you've seen the soap bubble we used to play. You've seen that? We take little soap water, then bubbles continuously come out. Sometimes the big bubbles also come. Sometimes you can get football size bubble also. You've seen that? Any of you have done that? Football size big one. You go like that. Slowly it moves. You've seen that? Yes. And it will be like Vidyar, multiple colors. And all our friends will say, hey, wow, this is big. Hey, that one is small. Hey, see, this continuous bubbles are coming from this thing. So they consider those bubbles to be substantial. But those bubbles go a little distance and then pluck, they're finished. You've seen that? You've seen after some time? Same like the middle bodies. Oh, this is my grandmother, this is my grandfather, this is my mama, this is my papa, this is my baby, this is my husband, this is my children. They all appear very colorful, like Vidyar colors, very attractive, laughing, joking and everything, talking, and the whole house looks very colorful. But after some time, one by one they pass away. First grandfather gets down, then grandmother gets down, then mother, father gets down. You also have to get down also. And everybody. Like, when I was a small kid, everybody was surrounding me, picking me up and putting on the lap. Mama would pick me and put me on his lap and give me laddu. Somebody will give me Mysore pak. And we became darling of everybody when you were a very small kid. After some time, I saw somebody calling me. Anna, they were calling. That means you are brother, elder brother. You became elder brother now. You are no more darling now. You are grown up now. And you are supposed to be, doing some responsibilities. After some time, I suddenly found somebody is calling me, Mama. Because then my sisters got married and their son and daughters started calling me, Mama. Now, they also have got married now. My sisters' children have got married. Now, when they get to say what, they'll call me? Tata. You know Tata? Tata means Dada. So, you become a grandfather. Correct, no? So slowly you'll find, and finally you'll find your tooth are gone, one out, two out, all out. Ears can't hear, hair also falls. Suppose we shave only before hair falls. That is the material world. Gradually, like the bubbles, gradually move and they go away. One by one, everybody goes. That's what he's saying. So, this is what is substantial. Can anybody say? What is Vastava Vastu? Spirit soul. Who said that? Correct. Spirit soul. That is Vastava Vastu. Because Krishna says, Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, asenam kledayantyapo, na shoshayati marutaha. Arjuna, you cannot cut the soul with scissors or blade. You cannot burn the soul with fire. You cannot wet the soul with water. You cannot dry the soul with air. These are the physical and chemical characteristics of soul. It is completely a pure spiritual thing. When Ravana tried to cut the body of Narada, he could not cut it. Imagine if there's a beam of light, can you cut it? With a knife or a blade, you cannot cut. Similarly, the spirit soul cannot be cut. That is substantial because the soul is Ajar Amar. He never gets old, he never dies. Permanent. Krishna is also permanent. Vastava Vastu. Vastava Vastu means real reality. Krishna's body and the soul's body. That is real. So therefore we should see everybody as spirit soul or see everybody as a body. So, yeah. If you see everybody as a body, you will see he is black, he is fat, he is poor, he is rich, he is uneducated, he is educated, all those disparity, discrimination comes. But when you see everybody as a spirit soul, Pandita, you can see like that. And then you will not exploit anybody. You will know that everybody is God's child and all that. So they are saying that just as men of childish intelligence consider the mirage in the desertic pond of water, so those who are irrational look upon the illusory transformations of Maya as substantial. Now it's not only to do with your relatives and friends. In this world, looking upon Maya as substantial means what? I'll ask you a simple question. You have seen the watercolor box, correct now? You've seen watercolor box now? Some of you may be painters also. You take those colors and throw it on a canvas. And then you make some pictures. And once the pictures are made, the pictures are combination of colors. But that color combination produces some emotions in you. Correct, no? Imagine if somebody has drawn a picture of a beggar, with a Bhiksha Patra. Beggar is weeping like this. Okay, so if you see the picture, what emotion comes? Sorrow. Compassion. Correct. You feel compassion. Immediately you feel, hey, take some coin, give it there. Then you realize it's not a person, it is just a picture. you see from a distance, immediately compassion comes. Similarly, if somebody draws a picture of a man and woman embracing, kissing, that kind of picture somebody has drawn, as soon as you see that picture, what happens? Lust is aroused. Agitation is produced in the mind. Correct, no? But when it was a watercolor in the box, did you feel the agitation? When you mix it and throw it on a canvas, then you feel agitation. Correct, no? Similarly, the three gunas, Sattva-guna, Raja-guna, Tama-guna, they are in three compartments. You have no problem. But when these gunas are taken and thrown on the canvas of material world here, and the combination is made, and they are thrown, and the material bodies are made. Like our bodies are made up of flesh and bones and stool and urine and bile and sputum and all those things. And the soul is seated. Now you find that, man is looking at a woman and getting attracted. But is a woman's body substantial if you see? No, it is not substantial because what looks attractive now will not remain the same. It is called as here today, gone tomorrow, pleasures. What is it?
Here today, gone tomorrow.
It is here today, but it will be gone tomorrow. Today it looks attractive. Little children also. They speak with Takli Boli, we say, children. And the parent think, how sweetly my child is speaking. But will they go on speaking like that? No. After that you grow up, that phase of life is gone. Similarly, a man and woman are attracted to each other's bodily beauty. A man looks at a beautiful girl and thinks, I will marry you and I will maintain you. Come. He's ready to marry like that, isn't it? And then after maintaining, you will see when she produces 3-4 children, her body doesn't remain the same. A thin woman, maybe a slim woman may become a fat woman. And then, eventually the beauty and attraction after 30-40 years, even husband and wife become like friends only. That attraction will be gone after some time. So, this is what he is telling about in this place, that the transformation of Maya are not substantial, they are insubstantial because they are nothing but a combination of Panchamahabhut. And therefore we call Jiva Bhut. You know that? There is Brahma Bhut, there is Jiva Bhut. Liberated soul means what Bhut? Brahma Bhut. And conditioned soul means? Jiva Bhut. So Jiva Bhut means when the soul is enveloped by Panchamahabhut. That is called Jiva Bhut. When the soul has become liberated from the Panchamahabhut and he is in Brahma Jyoti, Brahmasmi, like that is Brahma Bhut. So he is in Brahma consciousness. He is in Krishna consciousness. That is Brahma Bhut. And we are in Maya consciousness means we are Jiva Bhut. So while you are Jiva Bhut, you have to cultivate Brahma Bhut. Otherwise, Jiva Bhut, you identify with these attractions around you, you are going to be fascinated by it. But although it is temporary and it cannot give happiness, but we think it will give, like a television, people think it's the source of all bliss, they think. But after they get television, it swallows all that time. And many things they see which are detrimental to them. So, whether it is television, whether it is woman's body, whether it is a smartphone, whether it is anything like that. Like liquor bottle looks like like a source of bliss for a fool. When he drinks liquor, then he loses his balance. That's what he's saying, that the transformation of Maya are not substantial. They will give you short pleasure and they will go away. And they will cheat you. And they will increase your hankering. That's what is called time. You know, the temporary, illusory, miserable enjoyment. Repeat it. Miserable enjoyment. That's called material pleasure. This is a name for material pleasure. It's a temporary pleasure. It is illusory. Illusory means to think what is source of suffering to be source of pleasure. That is called illusion. Or thinking what is source of bliss to be source of suffering. Like chanting is source of bliss. What my mind says? Oh. I was boring. Mind says like that. And on the other hand, there are many things which give you temporary happiness, like liquor bottle. Somebody drinks liquor or cigarette or something. It appears like I'm going to get a lot of happiness. And within a few moments, it's knocked down. Correct? No? So what is good for us, the mind says it is bad. And what is bad for us, mind says it is good. That is called illusion. Correct? No? What is temporary? Considering temporary to be permanent, permanent to be temporary. It's called illusion. Vayam pura Srimadanashta drishtayo Vishayasya itaretara sprudhaha. See, they are saying, Vayam, we kings, pura, long before, Sri Mada Nashta drishtayo. We became, Sri Mada means we became proud of our wealth. Sri Mad, correct, no? Shri means wealth and opulences. Mada means proud. Nashta drishti, we became blinded. Drishti means vision. Nashta drishti means vision is gone. That means we became blinded by our wealth. Jigishayasya itaretara spradha means itara spradha. We were competing with one another. Due to greed, he's saying Jigishayasya. What was the greed? God has given you your kingdom, peacefully rule it. But they want to take over neighborhood kingdom. North side, east side, west side, south side. They want to take over. Jigishayasya. Itara spradha means we are fighting with one another. Knanta prajaswa ati nirgrana prabho mrityum purasva viganaya durmada. They are saying, for that we tortured the praja. For example, Vietnam War started with US when the Vietnam top man, number one man, and America number one man, they had an ego themselves. They had an ego problem. They had some hot, angry exchange in some occasion. And therefore they waged a war. But for their egoistic trip, so many husband and wives had to go to Vietnam War. And they were killed in the battle. So that's what he's saying, Grantha Praja. Actually, due to satisfying our fastidious false ego, we tortured our Praja. Like that is saying. Yeah, Grantha Praja Swa. Ati Nirgrana Prabhu. We were extremely cruel. Like this. And we tortured our Praja. We took the tax from Praja and we ate, drank, and we were eating and drinking and being merry. Not caring for the welfare of the Praja. Ideally, kings should do three things for Praja. PA, we call it PAW. Protection, administration, welfare. Protection means the king should protect the Praja, especially 5 types of Praja. Cows, women, children, old people, and brahmanas. Cows, why cows should be protected? They are very tender creatures. They are very innocent creatures. And they also give pure milk which nourishes our brain tissues. So they should be protected, cows. And they are worshipable. So go puja. And women should be protected because they are abala, they are weak. Woman is protected by her father, later by husband, later by son. So if a woman is a widow, then king should protect her. Make sure that protection is arranged for her, women. And children, and now also child abuse and everything, videos are made and taught children are taught how not to allow anyone to abuse them. Because they are very tender, no? They are physically small, big. Other bigger fellows may abuse them. So they are taught how to save themselves. So children should be protected, and cows, women, children, and old people. Why? Because the old people should leave their body without any tension, so that they can go back to God. They should not have tension of food, clothing, shelter, or anything. They should be protected because they can't work hard in old age. They become bedridden, they should be protected. The Brahmanas means they are teachers. See, each of these categories of people is very amazing. Brahmanas never think about tomorrow. You ask them, what about tomorrow's food? They don't know. If Krishna sends, I will eat. If Krishna doesn't send, I will not eat. So therefore, the Brahmanas are dependent on God. So the king understands that I am representative of God. So I should supply charity to the Brahmanas. Similarly, a child has a tendency to always get into troublesome things. He goes and touches fire. Or he goes and takes a knife and puts in the mouth. When he runs outside the house. Therefore, the child has to be protected. Similarly, women need two-way protection. The woman should not become loose in character and trouble other men. Like the example is given in Bhagavatam, like the clouds, two clouds in the sky. Sometimes the lightning, like that the lightning is shining in. That means lighting goes from one cloud to another. So the cloud is compared to man. One woman should not leave one man and go to another man, third man, fourth man, like that they should not do. And they should not pull the leg of other men by that loose behavior. And also, women should be protected from exploitative men who do gang rape and all that. Correct? No? Women should be protected. So, in Hyderabad, when 3 men took one girl to the neighborhood forest and they raped her, immediately the police took these 3 men to another forest and shot them. Know that? All 3 were shot. Many people are saying, hey, how can they do this? What is the need of shooting them? They can put them behind the bars. But then the authorities told that, see, if one gang rape group is shot, then nobody will dare to do it. And this is actually, the Vedic times also, heavy punishments are there for those who abuse women. So, in this way, women should be protected. They are also tender. Their bodies are weak. And old people in their old age need help of someone for their medication, medical help, for their physical help. They can't even cook themselves, they can't walk. They're bedridden many times. And also they should have sons, daughters. Somebody should be there to protect them. Take care that they can leave the body without anxiety. And they can remember Krishna at the time of death. Antakalecha. Like this, each category deserves protection. Cows also. Cows are so big in body, but they are very mild creatures. You can see when a child goes and carries the cow will just keep quiet. You can see that. And just opposite is lion or tiger, isn't it? Amazing. Huh? So therefore, cows also deserve protection. Cow and bull are mother and father in the Vedic life. So Vedas teach that. So in this way, king should offer protection, and also administration means what? Thieves and rogues should be kept under control. Law and order should be there. Money should not be exploited by thieves and rogues. Nobody should be allowed to loot anybody. Nobody can do any kind of atrocity in the society. They should be curbed immediately. No terrorists, no thieves, no rogues, no scandals, no criminal activities. No gang rapes. All these things should be stopped. There is law and order, administration. And also people should pay 25% tax to the king, whatever they earn in that. And then third one is welfare. Welfare means beginning with Duty Kapdamakan, food, clothing, shelter, beginning from that. After that, planting trees on either side of the road, arranging for water supply, arranging for education of the citizens, also arranging for temples, building temples and giving provision for expanding cultural activities like Bharatanatyam, singing, Carnatic and Hindustani, all that. And also worship of the Lord in the temple, and the teaching of the Vedic literature to the common people, and bringing about character, life with character, and ultimately awakening devotion and purification of heart and going back to God. All this is done by the king. So instead of doing that, what they're saying, Grantha Praja Swa Atinirgrina Prabhu. We were troubling the Praja. You see here, it says here. Previously blinded by intoxication of riches, we want to conquer this earth And thus we fought one another to achieve victory, mercilessly harassing our own subjects. We arrogantly disregarded you, O Lord, who stood before us as death. But now, O Krishna, the powerful form of yours called time, moving mysteriously and irresistibly, has deprived us of our opulences. That means time can make a beggar into a billionaire. Or the same time, Kala can make another billionaire into beggar. People say, no, so Kalki Pravaha. People say like that, no? It's all time. So, time brings our goods from our Purva Janma and Sukritis, no? Punya, Pap, Sukriti. For some time a person is shining in society, and another time he becomes like a useless fellow. No? Because the time favors you as long as Punya is there. Purva Janma Ajita Punya Magre Dhavati Dhavati. And then Punya is over, then one falls down. So he's saying that the time, brought downfall for us. The time has deprived us of our opulences. Now that you have mercifully destroyed our pride, we beg simply to remember your lotus feet. Like that they are saying. They are saying here, you see. Mrityam puras tva viganaya durmada. Ayeva krishnadya gabhira ramhasa duranta viryena vichalita ashriya. Vichalita, all the opulences were taken away by time. Kalena tanva bhagavato anukampaya. Vinishtadarpas charanau smaramate. Vinishtadarpa means let all our pride be finished. I'll be finished. And charanau smaramate. Let us remember your lotus feet. Like that they are saying. Okay, we will. Okay, 13 we have finished. We will start with 14 tomorrow. I went a little late, I think, today. Some more prayers, 14. After that last part will go faster. Krishna speaking to them and very beautiful verses. Mostly we'll complete it tomorrow. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Parvati ki Jai. You said